out here on location, it's not just about finding the right light or the best composition, it's about looking after your gear too. Today I'm out at Nashenden Down and want to share a few thoughts on one of the least glamorous but most important parts of photography, keeping your camera gear clean. Hello and welcome back to another video on what is a very hot, a very muggy day here in the southeast of England. As mentioned, I want to discuss the joys of keeping our camera equipment nice and clean. However, it's been a very hot period here in the southeast of England. We're going through a little bit of a mini heat wave at the moment. Got a lovely breeze coming in across the fields and long may that continue. I'm out at Nashenden Down this morning, a local spot not far from home that I've been really looking forward to revisiting for a while. You see, I came here in November, December of last year. It's where I recorded my lens hood video. In fact, it's a bit moody that day though. Not complaining because I was really happy with the shots that I managed to capture. But visibility wasn't great. Couldn't see too far across the valley, which was a little bit disappointing. But if I spin you around, just a little bit. There you go. Beautiful day out here today, isn't it? And it's a familiar location. Been here before. Know where some decent shots are. So hopefully I'll get something good today with the conditions the way they are. I'm currently using a different lens to what I'd normally use on the front of my Canon RP this morning. I'm currently using the EF 24 to 105mm with the EF to RF adapter. It's not mine, it's my dad's, in fact, one that he uses with his DSLR cameras. He's asked me to do a little bit of a test using it, the results of which I'll share in an upcoming video. However, today's video I want to talk about the fun task of having to keep our camera equipment nice and clean. It is without doubt, without hesitation, even one job I loathe the most when looking after my camera gear. I mean, it's inevitable, isn't it? We're going to have to give it a clean every so often, especially if, like me, you're constantly changing lenses when you're out on location, especially if it's a windy day. Take being at the coast, for example. You're changing your lens, it's windy, you might get a bit of sand on the sensor on the back of the lens if you're not quick enough. Every now and again, it's inevitable that you're going to have to give that lens, that sensor, a little bit of a clean, aren't you? England really is bizarre with its weather. At the start of the video I talked about how there's been a little bit of a mini heat wave here in the southeast these last couple of weeks. And now there's a little bit of thunder in the background. Just had a little bit of rain in the opposite direction. Clear blue skies. Talking of dust spots though, earlier on in the year I was doing a bit of post-processing and noticed a few dust spots on them. I actually preferred editing those dust spots out in post rather than getting the sensor cleaned, because I was worried about damaging the sensor itself. Probably thinking, and the dust on the sensor itself was probably doing enough damage. But the trouble is, photography is such an expensive hobby, isn't it? Photography is not cheap by any means. Take my Canon RP for example, that costs me £500 second hand at the moment. And if I'm being completely honest, it's £500 I don't have at the moment, so I've got to be so careful. I can't afford to accidentally damage the sensor, drop the camera, because it's an expense that I just wouldn't be able to justify at the moment. Yeah, back comes the vein. What a difference between now and 6 months ago. Goes without saying, I know. As I mentioned at the start of this video, came here November, December time, and this valley was shrouded by thick fog. Now look at it. Lovely blue skies, got clouds as well, meaning we're not going to end up with flat, boring skies, which you know that I hate. We've got plenty of subject dotted around all over the place as well. And here in the foreground we've got these poppies. Really didn't expect to find poppies today. That has been one true bonus to come out and find. However, this video, it's all been about cleaning our camera gear, and the big one, cleaning the sensor, making sure we've got no dust spots on the sensor, because whilst you can deal with it in post, most of the time you don't want to end up with an image ruined because you've got too much dust on your sensor. Having to use those cleaning swabs, making sure you've got the right amount of cleaner on the swab itself, and then you're having to kind of almost gently scrape the swab back and forth along the sensor to make sure it's nice and clean. Did that a couple of weeks ago, got bored of having to remove the dust spot in post-processing. Lenses, they're much easier to deal with. Microfiber cloths, always carry one of these around with me whenever I'm on location, especially if we get a little bit of rain like what we got today. Just means I can just give it a little bit of a wipe, make sure I have no rain spots on the lens, because again, I can ruin an image I don't want at all. But one final image, I think we're going to focus on the bridge in the background with these poppies in the foreground. Got the 24 to 105 on the front of the camera, the RF mount this time. I got bored lugging around that tank of an EF 24 to 105mm lens. I'm on ISO 500 at the moment. I'm shooting handheld, can't be bothered to be setting up a tripod today. Nicely focused to make sure I get plenty of foreground, I get plenty of foreground colour with the poppies. The bridge in the background, shooting full 24mm ISO 500 f8, and that'll give me a shutter of around 1/320th of a second. Let's see how this turns out. I must admit, it's been a lovely morning out here on Nashenden Down, despite the little bit of rain and the little bit of thunder. Of course, it's been nice and dry, it's not been too windy, so hopefully I've not had to worry about any dust spots hitting the sensor. I think though, this is me making my way back now to the car. Like always, I really enjoy having you along with me on these trips out. However, I'm going to call it a day, so Hope you've enjoyed this video, but from me to you, it leaves me to say one thing: goodbye.